Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself Suprit, and this is your AEW Dynamite review. It's for February 16th, 2022, and I'm joined by Abby Maniac here. I'm not going to ask you what did you think about this show. Let's get down to the breaking news, and I'm not talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin returning to wrestling after 19-20 years. I'm talking about Cody Rhodes, who is no longer all elite. Also joining him is his wife, Brandy Rhodes. And this will be, by the end of this year, the most, shocking news, in terms of wrestling. Like something that we didn't expect. And the funny thing is, like I was doing reviews with you and Ridwan, and there was this one talk that he's teasing to maybe leaving AEW, and we jokingly said that nah, he's just fucking around, he will eventually resign, something like that. And here we are, after all these weeks. He was a free agent for a month or so, and now he's gone. So what do you think about this whole situation? I'm going to list off some of the highlights from this Cody Road story. Should I list off this, highlights, or you want to give your thoughts?
First, list of the highlights, please.
So basically, Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes are out of the company now. Like it was being reported by some of the top journalists like Andrew Zarian, Sean Rossap, Dave Meltzer, and their team did a follow up. And like I just mentioned, he was Cody Rhodes, especially was a free agent. I think from the beginning of 2022, and initially he was working on a handshake deal, and so what happened was they were trying to come to an agreement, but it didn't happen, and they decided to part ways, and the situation was so serious that lawyers were involved. This is coming from Brian Alvarez. He stated that the lawyers were involved, something like that. And it is also reported that he had a fallout with Tony Khan as well. So we all know that he was one of the EVPs of AEW and had two big reality show. Was pretty much of a big name in that company since day one. I think he was one of the first signing of the company. And to continue with this story, he is reportedly heading back to WWE without Brandy Rhodes, mind you, and we could expect him on WWE TV anytime soon. So, what do you think about this whole situation, man? Like, this is something that we didn't expect, but it happened. Pretty shocking. Like, too much to digest here. So, what do you think?
Uh, Basically, first of all, yes, uh, I am also shocked with the news, absolutely, and I do not know that uh, is Cody Rhodes, heading to WWE. Uh, you know, you have said that as per the reports of the top journalists, yes, he had a falling out. Yes, he is headed to WWE, and there are various, fan theories that no, it is a work, and he would be returning to AEW in some shape or form, in form of a faction, a heel faction. There are many stories floating around. But if you look with a sense of the things which have come out of AEW, with the sense of the social media posts from Tony Khan and the other people, it seems like that yes, Cody Rhodes is not affiliated to AEW at the moment, and uh, he is not under contract. We knew that from the past few months, and he was just working with them, based on trust, based on, as you said, handshake deal, so to speak. Uh, he can do anything at this point. It is up to Cody Rhodes that if he is thinking about the money because he has a family to take care of, maybe he is thinking that he has to go to WWE, that there is a sense of security. And many people are thinking that this is career suicide. There is nothing that Cody Rhodes has to do there. And many people are saying that what does WWE, uh, see in Cody Rhodes, that he is just a mid card act and blah blah blah. But there is so much to see, but at this point we do not know that what is the thing that would be happening. Yes, it is in the void. Anything is uncertain at this point. There is also this thing which came out, I guess it came out yesterday, that EC3 and his crew are coming out with a television deal, control your narrative. They are coming out with a promotion. The guys are not under contract with anyone. So Cody Rhodes could work with them as well if he wants, because there is no contract. There is a television deal, and they can work with anyone. There is also this heel faction theory that also works with those guys. He can appear on Ring of Honor television, Impact Wrestling, NWA, and other promotions as well if he wants. And he also can, you know, give his expertise of being a booker, being a television guy to this promotion. And he can also work with Impact Wrestling, NWA, or Progress Wrestling if there is something, or Ring of Honor, if there is interest from those companies, and he uh, and the money is good, obviously, and if he wants to. The thing which Cody Rhodes would be interested in at this point would be, of course, money, of course, emotional fulfillment, and you know abundance. Absolutely, the third point. So these three things should be fulfilled. In AW, you saw that, in the initial point you talked about, he was the first signee. He was the foundation. He was one of the foundations, and he was one of the catalysts that brought about AW. Probably it wasn't for him, probably AW would not have come into existence in the first place. I'm not saying he was the only guy, but he was one of the pivotal guys who, you know added to the existence of AW. So him going away is a big thing, absolutely. But now what is next? We don't know. But he will be a huge asset if he works with any of the other promotions. If he works with WWE, I don't know if he would be getting the booking power or anything what he wants. But if he gets the three things, that is the money fulfillment, the emotional fulfillment, and he feels wanted, so probably he would choose WWE. And with the AW things which are happening, we have this theory that probably Buddy Matthews is getting signed with the House of Black thing. We are seeing many WWE guys who are getting released or who are top names of WWE. They are headed to AW, and AW is getting stacked. And people like Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they are getting, their importance is getting this. you know, is getting lessened, so to speak. And the guys who are top names in the industry and they have, you know, acceptance worldwide, they are getting more exposure on television, and they would be getting that because they are getting revenue, they are getting money, they are getting you more fans in. So they would be getting that. You would want to feature CM Punk instead of Kenny Omega on television because he would be getting you more fans, he would be getting you more revenue. So it is logical. And you, as a booker, would want to invest in CM Punk more rather than Kenny Omega or Cody Rhodes. So probably Cody Rhodes didn't get that money he wanted because he was probably comparing himself that he would want to get as much money or probably more as CM Punk or Bryan Danielson or probably Samoa Joe would get.
Is it just the money thing, or did he wanted more than money? Did he wanted full control of AEW in terms of booking and stuff? Because if you remember, there was a report, last year that the UEPs have, no, control over the booking. Like there is
Booking
certain
power.
parts, but they have certain jobs that they have to fulfill, uh, besides being a performer. But the
Hmm.
booking part is mainly Tony Khan. Like you can pitch him ideas and stuff, and it has to go through him.
Hmm.
Is it that type of scenario? He wanted to be more involved in the creative side, and Tony Khan didn't give him.
It could be, but it could form some part of it. But because, yes, it could be. It could be because, yes, he's a business guy. He wanted to, show his chops as a businessman also, as a promoter. So he wanted to be involved in the business side also. And it would be logical because if you are a person who was one of the big catalysts of bringing AW to existence. And now there is this point that you are not getting TV time. So you want to do something to, contribute. So why wouldn't you want to contribute from behind the scenes? Why wouldn't you want to contribute as a person in management or as a booker? He would not have wanted to have overall control, but probably he would have wanted to be a part of the management. But as you were saying, that probably Tony Khan took that away from everybody, that probably there is uh, there is a possibility of that power being abused by these people, because we saw when the power was being given to the EVPs, we saw them, you know, booking shit that wasn't probably working. Some parts worked, some parts didn't. That, for instance, we saw Joshi women, getting booked on AW on a massive scale, but probably it didn't work. It worked on some level, but it didn't work on the mass level. It didn't bring about ratings. It didn't bring about revenue. And we are talking about Kenny Omega here. Kenny Omega was the one who was here in this case. And if we talk about the Young Bucks, they were in charge of the tag team wrestling. They brought about some tag teams in. And if we talk about Butcher and Blade, we talk about Private Party, we talk about Angelico and who was the other guy?
Evans, Jack
Jack
Evans.
Evans. Yeah, yes, Jack Evans. So did it work? It worked on some level, but it eventually worked when the top teams came in, when FTR came in, when LAX came in, and probably Young Bucks would have not wanted them in, or probably we do not know at this point. We cannot go into the booking committee at this point. And if we go to Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes would have probably there was a report in the past that Cody Rhodes was not in favor of CM Punk coming in. If we talk about the coffee cafe thing, and it led to CM Punk signing with Fox, and it went to the whole WWE backstage and blah blah blah. So probably, and there were many other things, uh, Anthony Ogogo, other things as well, and they would have all these EVPs. They would have, contributed to good things as well. I'm not saying they all failed on all levels. I'm saying that they would have, contributed in the good as well. But probably Tony Khan thought that it would be in the best interest that I have all the power, because I have also seen, or I have, learned about the narrative of WCW, eventually, you know, failed because one of the reasons was that uh, Eric Bischoff, threw away the creative power to everybody, and everybody abused that power. So uh, Cody Rhodes probably wanted to be a part of creative as well, but it was taken away, and he is not getting TV time as well. So now at this point, we do not know what is going to happen in the future. And WWE is a safe haven. We know that if we joins WWE, it would roll as it is happening in the past. It wouldn't be a big change in WWE. I am not able to watch, so I do not know if there are being changes or something like that in WWE. But I know that WWE isn't in a very good shape. What I am being, you know, what image is being brought out on social media, that WWE is also on the path of rebuilding.
Uh,
We are seeing, yes, please.
one thing to describe WWE is that they are making 1 billion in revenue, but
Mm,
creatively they are bankrupt. There you go.
mm, mm, mm. You know, to that in a little short point. The only thing is that they are, rebuilding with the sense of creative that you are saying. You know, releasing talents and releasing other stuff, and there was also a release with regards to the Spanish commentator who was with them for 20, 30 years yesterday, Carlos Cabrera. So they are cutting down with regards to the costs. So their whole perspective right now is getting profitable with regards to money and being smart with regards to money. If they are thinking of selling it off or anything, that is up to them, obviously. But right now it is that they are rebuilding and they are making it a efficient machine. They are not wanting to waste money at any level. And with regards to the money that their revenue is majorly coming from B2B, stuff that is business to business. That is basically they are earning money basically from the transactions, or you can say from business which they are doing with other companies, which they are doing from sponsorships, which they are doing from licensing deals. They are not they are concerned with that more, and with shareholders, obviously. They are not concerned, and the major business is not coming from customers, which is the public, which is us, basically. So they are not. depending on us, basically. For their main concern for money is with businesses, with corporates, with sponsorships, with uh, the shareholders. So they are making that efficient. They are not making this efficient, which caters to us. That is basically their wrestling product right now. They are more concerned with what attracts businesses. And what attracts businesses, that is their financial status, their financial statements. That is P&L and their balance sheets. That is what attracts them. That is what is making them money. So that is what they are making efficient more. So basically, that is the thing right now
Back to
with
Cody.
regards to WWE.
Yeah, back to
Yes.
Cody Rhodes. Back to Cody Rhodes. So as of now, his next destination is WWE. So he's going to be a winner if he can bag a big money contract with them. You know, that top tier WWE superstar I'm talking about, not the Lesnar one. I think he's making big money over there. He's the top guy in terms of making revenue and being one of the highest paid acts over there. Maybe somewhat of a Roman Reigns, Rollins, Edge, uh, that type of deal. Like if Brock Lesnar is making, for example, 5 million, he could get a 3 million type of contract.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, he needs a big money
So,
contract. Then he is going to be a solid winner. And I don't know what else perks he could get.
mm-hmm. He could get the things that he wants, spend more time with his family. And, probably there was a report that he is interested in, politics in the future and doing reality shows. And reality shows also wants exposure. You want ratings. And if we compare the audience of AW VS, WWE has more exposure. So if you are on WWE television and you are being exposed to worldwide audience, so you would get more audience to watch your reality show. Basic logical. So there's that as well. So and he would get, as I just said, you know, time off. Probably he would get that in the contract.
And
So.
creatively, he is going to be safe.
Hmm.
At
Hmm.
least he's going to get featured in some important role, be it shitty or not.
Hmm. Yes.
So that sounds like a solid deal to me. So I don't know. So they say that he's going to appear on WWE TV anytime. So expect him showing up on a random Raw or SmackDown, or maybe once WrestleMania is done, or maybe he could show up at WrestleMania. He could be going there having a big program. God knows at this point.
Hmm. Let's see.
And
Let's see.
and yeah, the other thing, Brandy Rhodes, she is also walking away from AEW, and she won't be showing up in WWE, it seems. But the thing is that she could be in the wrestling landscape in some sort of or fashion. But overall, to cap up this Cody story, uh, best of luck to both Cody and Brandy. And I'm going to miss him on AEW TV. Like he was one of those important guys to look forward to. I know that at the end days he was getting little stale, but when he was teasing this heel turn, I said that he was one of the most intriguing character, and I stick to that. And I'm going to miss him on AEW TV, and almost excited for him to show up over there on the other side.
Agreed. Agreed. And probably Cody Rhodes could be the reason that I would go out of my way and check out his return or debut. on WWE television.
And he's you could say the first guy to make the jump from the other side. You said that
Mm,
WWE talents getting released, they make their next destination AEW, but this is a first that the official, AEW former AEW guy has went to WWE. I think we have seen in the past with several AEW talents who their case was they were not actual signees within AEW. Like the last one
mm.
was B Priestley. You remember her?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm, mm,
she was on AEW TV, but she was not a signee. So this is with Cody. He is the first AEW X guy to make the jump, and God knows who else will follow him. I think this
mm,
he has actually opened the door for those type of guys if they want to consider, even for new indie guys who look at WWE. No, that's not a safe place for me. I can try AEW. He can actually open the
mm,
door for those guys and make them reconsider. WWE can be a safe place to work and make some decent money.
mm. Agreed. Recently with the mass releases which have happened, WWE has gotten a very bad image with regards to talent management, and even that image has gotten to me as well. That is, WWE is still a good place to work. Is a good place to is a good company to work with. I have seen people in Russell Square who think that working with WWE is the dream, but with the mass releases that have happened, you know it gave me a sense of you know to you know go back and think twice that is is that a good place. But as you are saying, you know Cody Rhodes jumping to WWE is giving a good sense of perspective if he joins WWE in the first place. That yes, WWE is still the place to be with regards to security, with regards to working with them, and now if he joins WWE, which is a big possibility, it as you are saying that it would open the door for the AW guys who are not fulfilled and who are not satisfied with their booking. They could consider jumping ship to WWE. The likes of LAX, Proud and Powerful, the likes of MJF, the likes of FTR, the likes of anybody who is incredibly talented and who thinks that he is not getting his or her fair due. He and there is interest from the other party, i.e., WWE. They would probably think that jumping ship to WWE would be a good career move, a business move.
This Cody story is right now is kind of a developing story. I think we'll be hearing more of that as the days goes by. So let's talk
Yes,
about the show itself, man. AEW Dynamite this week
yes.
from Nashville, Tennessee. Really good show,
Me-
and we'll talk about the entirety of this stuff. But before that, if you're new to Slamhub Wrestling, then make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and do all that stuff, and check out all other content links provided in the description below. So show kicks off here with CM Punk, who was seen sitting in the middle of the ring, and I think he was wearing custom made Jordans or sneakers, which looked sick, and he also had a shoe box in front of him. We'll get to that. So he introduces himself saying that he's CM Punk, I'm straight edge, which means I'm alcohol free, drug free, and I'm better than you. And he asks, does that sound familiar? And I felt like he's reminding us about his initial ECW promo from 2006, similar vibe. So he said that he spoke these exact words 20 years ago, and said these words became a foundation of his career, and which has gone on to influence a lot of people and aspiring wrestlers. Then he talks about MJF, says when he beat him, Punk said when MJF beat him in Chicago, he was actually proud of him. But MJF failed to retain the knowledge and the lessons that were used to be taught, something like that. Then he talked about the phrase that MJF makes, that he's better than Piper in Portland, Brett in Calgary, and Punk in Chicago. But in reality, he's just shitty little Max from shitty little Long Island. I think Punk has really, he has a grudge against Long Island. I think he's public enemy number one over there whenever they do the show next time. So basically, it talks about MJF again, and said, and was getting to the main point, that is, him naming the time, the place, the date, and the match for this eventual rematch between MJF and Punk. So he talks about the date, that is March 6th in Orlando, Revolution, the pay per view. And he was considering the match stipulation. Should I do it in a steel cage? And he talks about, and he also rethinks about the toughest matches he has had in his career. And we go on and on and on, and we see MJF showing up, but he doesn't actually speak anything. He was just there. He came out with a serious look, by the way. And Punk here actually name drop, before MJF came out, name drop the stipulation. So what happened was, remember the shoebox? So he opens this. I thought we were going to get a plug for his new sneakers, but no, it is actually dog collar. And he talks about the very first match, very first dog collar match. And when MJF came out, like I said, he was in a very scared look, wasn't in his usual MJF manner. So what happened was, Punk basically said that he's going to beat the shit out of MJF at Revolution. And the last line he said, "Will you be my Valentine?" Something like that, referring to the first ever dog collar match between Piper and Greg Valentine. And there you go. This dog collar match is happening. And by the way, the segment ended by MJF just walking away without uttering a single word. So we are getting this match, a dog collar match, by the way. And they also reference that the last time we saw a match, dog collar match in AEW, was between Mr. Brody Lee and Cody Rhodes. They didn't hesitate to mention Cody Rhodes here, which I liked, because if this was WWE, they wouldn't utter a single word and make a single reference. But other than that, this segment was great, and I love this stipulation that they're going with a dog collar match. Should be brutal. And thoughts on this one?
Uh, um, I would agree that this promo, or you can say this conversation between CM Punk and the fans in attendance and watching at home, was brilliant. It was one of the best on the microphone CM Punk. So what can you expect? And not anything less. So it was a brilliant conversation and a great, you can say, response from MJF. He acted perfectly to this stipulation. And I would like to say that when CM Punk started talking, about the match, and you can say he was having a conversation with us, or you can say he was cutting a promo, so to speak, and you ran through all that. My intuition immediately screamed to me that it was going to be a dog collar match. I don't know where it came from, but it did. But other than that, right now there is loads to contemplate for MJF Revolution pay-per-view, March 6th, Sunday, dog collar match. It would be great. I remember that probably where this intuition hit to me, that I remember that there was a match between CM Punk and Raven, a dog collar match in Ring of Honor. So I saw that match a few years ago online. I guess it. I saw that on YouTube, and the match was great, basically. And I saw Punk's promos leading up to the match. I saw the storytelling. Basically, CM Punk's storytelling was basically, he was drug free, alcohol free, and Raven, symbolized the opposite. You know, uh, drugs and everything, and he flushed his career down the toilet with the drugs and everything like that. So, and CM Punk was such a compelling character. Whenever he came to the ring, he, hit the fans with the truth and everything, and he thumped his, ego that I am drug free and I am, better than you and everything. So I learned a lot from what he did in his promos, and I enjoyed a lot as well. I enjoyed a lot is above. I learned a lot is here. That how to do storytelling, basically. That the emotion is important. The investment from the crowd is so important to get in. And also Bryan Danielson in the CM Punk documentary 2012 or 2011 Best in the World, he also alluded to the fact that when CM Punk joined Ring of Honor, he brought a lot different to the plate. That he brought in storytelling here in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor basically symbolized wrestling, but CM Punk brought in storytelling. That is what made CM Punk, and that is what was the, you can say, the attractive point of CM Punk. So we saw it here, and I saw that it would be probably a dog collar match. So I'm looking forward to the dog collar match, and good stuff. I'm looking forward to the match, and I'm looking forward to the build to March 6th. That what else can they throw at one another? So looking forward to it. One of the best rivalries or one of the best stories on AW television right now.
Agreed, agreed, and should be a really solid match. But as we move on, we have Jurassic Express and Christian Cage being interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and we are informed that the AW Tag Team Championships will be defended in a three-way at Revolution. So the two challenging teams will be decided in a battle royal and a casino battle royal. This will be back-to-back weeks. And so Jungle Boy, commented on this, said he loves three ways, and Luchasaurus was shocked initially. And there you go, man. We are getting a three-way for the tag titles. Uh, the booking is something regarding this situation, isn't it? We are getting a three-way, and the challengers will be decided with two battle royals, and both two different style. One a regular one, the other one being at the casino style. Um,
Hmm.
what do you think about this?
Uh, no, I am really conflicted. First of all, there is this uh, excitement that probably it could be a, way of entering the Hardy Boys or the House Hardy to the mix, and probably they would be entering via the Casino Battle Royale route, and the and if the Hardy Boys are coming in, they would be winning the tag team championship, no doubt about it. And the second mindset here is that having a three-way, too many guys in the match. I would have much liked two teams having a go. Having three teams, I don't know. Not a I don't know. If there is some stipulation involved, like a ladder match or a TLC match, then probably it could be, you know, a solid thing. But no, I don't know. And there was a promo, a backstage interaction which happened in the later part of the show. So probably they are also trying to book Young Bucks versus the Red Dragon uh, through one of the battle royals.
Yeah, that is something to bring up. Young Bucks
Hmm.
and Red Dragon. There is no story going on with them and Adam Cole. We'll get to that initially, but those are someone that could be get involved in this situation. We'll have to wait and see. Two battle royals, but as we move along with this show, we had Bryan Danielson facing Lee Moriarty, and this was really a good match. Two great technical wrestlers, and Danielson was officially the best striker in this match. Like was beating the shit out of Moriarty, but great stuff here. So mostly this was a one-sided affair, as Danielson was on the offense, but Moriarty had some moments, and Moriarty was over with the fans. So match started very interestingly, where Danielson offered a handshake, code of honor, if you will, and at the last minute he decided to psych out, crowd booed. So there was some notable spots here, and one of them being Danielson. What happened was he had Moriarty in a submission, and Moriarty locked Danielson's legs, and this led to both men simultaneously doing a headstand with the legs locked, by the way, and they traded strikes here. So this is I don't know, maybe a Kenta Marufuji spot. So crowd popped big for this one. So Moriarty at one point and like for several times was attempting to lock in his submission called the Border City Stretch, aka Gargano Escape. And JR on commentary said, the Border City what? And Excalibur had to explain. It was a submission invented by Alex Shelley. So there you go. And back to this match. As we get to the final parts, Danielson was in control. He was able to hit the Busaiko knee but didn't go for the pin. Instead, he decided to stomp Moriarty's head continuously until locking in the triangle for the win. And you could see the final image of Danielson flexing while he had the submission, which was great. I love that. So match was really solid. He got over the young guy. He's getting over, and it was in terms of the story that they were telling. He was mentioned in those initial names, the young guys that Danielson wants to bring in if he wants to form a faction. So kind of made sense. What did you think about this match? And we'll get to the post match stuff, but thoughts on the match?
Yeah, the action was competitive and stiff between the two guys, i.e., Bryan and Lee Moriarty, and Bryan showed disrespect towards his opponent. The match was great, no doubt about it. Bryan also bitch slapped Moriarty many a times, uh, and talking about JR, as you said, he joked with joked, or you can say sniped at Excalibur when Excalibur explained the bitch slap like a paintbrush. That doesn't look, or that doesn't translate well to the audience. It was a fucking bitch slap. You can say he's slapping. It cannot be that snowflakey. It cannot be, you are in a wrestling match. You are not teaching kindergarten. I'm just saying, you are slapping someone. You cannot say this is a paintbrush. Say it what it is. Slapped him, bitch slapped him. Can say that. There's that, and other than that, it it is leading to a interaction between Moxley and Bryan Danielson. So what happened post match, we will go to that, and other than that, the uh, you can say the premise of this match was basically what uh, there was an interaction between Bryan Danielson and Lee Moriarty on Rampage, which had basically concluded with Bryan saying that I would teach you a lesson in violence and viciousness. So if we go through this entire match, I would say that mission accomplished in a way. We saw how vicious and what violence was in this whole match. And as you said, that he put over Moriarty. And if we compare that what was necessary and how much offense could have been given to Moriarty, I would say it was perfect. Neither more nor less. Perfect. Good stuff from Bryan Danielson and Moriarty as well. And Matt Seidel, Matt's involvement in the match or his presence in ringside was pretty much non-existent. I don't know why. Hopefully, they can use that in the future
I think he showed up on the stage, right?
storytelling. Yes,
And
and
decided to walk away.
probably he. All right, then it makes sense.
Yeah, I think they did the similar thing with Darby and Sting later on.
Yes,
So,
they did that. Yes.
but as we get to the post match, Danielson got on the mic, says that he was out there to teach Lee a thing or two about violence, like you just said, and he asked the crowd, "Did Lee pass or he failed?" Crowd said yes, and Danielson said he didn't expect more from this ungrateful American society. Lol. So John Moxley, shows up, comes to the crowd, and he gets on the mic. He basically tells a story about his history with Danielson, and said that there was a thing 10 years ago or something like that, that he got to face the American Dragon for the first time, and also talked about I think Tracy's mothers was involved in this indie show, something like that, and their paths have crossed several times throughout their careers in various places. But the thing is, he has never beaten Bryan Danielson, and that is kind of a thing that is missing from his illustrious career, something like that. And he then talks about what Bryan said about not fighting him. Instead, he wants to join forces with him and create and develop the up and coming guys over there in the AEW locker room. But as he's going on and on, he talks about this one line that concluded this promo. Basically, is that he doesn't want to join forces. No, he basically doesn't want to stand side by side with someone that he didn't bleed with them first. Killer line, by the way. And he basically walks out. So basically, I think we are getting that Danielson Moxley match. They're not going to start off, being a force. I think that will be somewhere down the line. First off, they're gonna get through this match, and yeah, this match is going to rock, and this story is going to progress from there. Thoughts on
Hmm.
this one?
Hmm. Uh, we talked in one of the reviews in the past, or I guess it was last week, or it was last to last week, that you know I am very much more interested in them joining forces rather than their singles match just thrown out for the public to see. But what happened post match with Moxley and Bryan, and Moxley, you know, doing his shtick, you know, giving us the story and telling us what he wants and telling everything that he hasn't beaten Bryan and what it will take to probably join forces with Bryan. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm invested in the story, and now my stance is changed. I would like to watch this match if it happens at Revolution. My stance has changed because there is investment now in this match. There is a story and there is a possibility of a future beyond this match that probably if these both guys gain respect for one another during the match, what can happen next? Anything can happen. It could be then one guy loses, one guy wins. It could possibly lead to another match. It could possibly lead to them gaining respect for one another and join forces. It could lead to anything. So invested, looking forward to the match, looking forward to the build, and looking forward to the future beyond the match. I am sold. I want to watch the match. Great stuff.
But as we move on, we hear from Limitless Keith Lee. He talks about his big debut from last week and plans on winning the face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution, and then going on being the next TNT champion. So that was his backstage promo. Really good stuff. And I love how he does this promo. There is some uniqueness about Keith Lee promos, the way he said, greetings and salutations. I'm limitless, Keith Lee. I love that stuff.
Agreed.
So let's see if he goes on to, win the ladder match. I doubt it. I think that is going to someone else. But speaking about the face of the Revolution ladder match, we had a qualifier. This is Max Caster facing Wardlow. Wardlow was accompanied by Sean Spears, while Caster was accompanied by his fellow acclaimed tag team partner Anthony Bowens. So Caster with the rap calls Wardlow MJF's pitch boy. Uh, so as we get to the match, a lot of interference going on with Anthony Bowens getting involved. I think at one point he handed the steel chain to Caster as the referee was a little distracted. Caster was able to use the steel chain on Wardlow, knocking out Wardlow in the process. Hit the mic drop, elbow drop, but couldn't get the job done. Bowens tried to get involved again. He was on the apron but gets knocked out by Wardlow thanks to some help with Max. I think he showed Max on Bowens at that point, and we see the powerbomb symphony coming in, bunch of power bombs, and Wardlow was loving this as crowd was asking for power bombs. He is basically embracing the chants and all. So he gets the job done, gets the win, he qualifies for the ladder match, and a little post match action here with Anthony Bowens coming in and attacking Wardlow. For a while, we had a 2-on-1 beatdown, but Wardlow, makes a comeback, gets rid of Anthony Bowens with a powerbomb. There you go. And he stood tall. And after that, while he was getting beat down by the acclaim, Sean Spears didn't make a move. He was just sitting there. And when Wardlow got the job done, he comes in, gets a bunch of chair shots, and takes somewhat of a shine away from Wardlow. But there you go, man. Wardlow is getting in the ladder match, and as the weeks go by, he's really embracing this babyface role, which is a good thing. Crowd loves him. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I thought that it was just another Wardlow match, you can say a glorified squash, so to speak. And majority of the match went in the commercial break. They just started the match and it went to the commercial break. So it took away from what was happening basically. But nonetheless, and you said that Sean Spears took the spotlight away from Wardlow post match. He also had a role, as you pointed out, in the midst of the match. At one point, he got Wardlow to lose, almost to lose at one point when he was on the apron. So, and as you said, that he didn't interrupt or make the save during the post-match beatdown by the Acclaim. So, it is all adding to the eventual breakup of Wardlow from the Pinnacle, basically. So, story is simple, it is working, effective. Wardlow getting the win and going to, getting over with the crowd, working perfectly. And last week, you pointed out to the crowd chanting Wardlow in the way that the crowd chanted for Goldberg. So that is also a very good sign that Wardlow is getting over as the weeks go by. So great stuff.
Next, we had a segment involving Britt Baker, Mercedes Martinez, Jimmy Hater, and Rebel. They were accompanying Dr. Britt Baker here. So this was basically an interview segment. They were basically what happened was Baker, was telling again to Mercedes Martinez that she should get the job done tonight against Thunder Rosa, and she was making some Cobra Kai references like Sensei, etc., etc., and this led to Martin Cow. I think this guy plays the character Chris in Cobra Kai, and he had some catchphrases: finisher, no mercy. There you go. If you are a Cobra Kai fan, you will pop big for this segment. If you are not, let's move on. AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page was out there for an interview segment, and before he could say, like, I'm a little jump starting here. Let me get to this guy who was in the crowd, who was basically, this is something that pissed me off and was very distracting. He had a sign that read that Adam Cole has a dad bod. That's it. That's basically it. And I want to say that this guy is an idiot. He can go fuck himself. And I have seen, like, fuck this guy, man. Like, this Adam Cole thin vanilla Majid thing is really getting out of hand. Like, if you have that mentality, you can go fuck yourself. And first off, look in the mirror for yourself first time before judging anyone else. But let's get to this segment. He was cut off by Adam Cole, baby. So basically, they are having a back and forth here, not in a very heel, like I even pointed out last week. The way Adam Cole showed up, went face to face with Hangman Page last week, it didn't came off in a very heelish manner. Same here in the initial moments. So he was putting over Page for a while, saying that he has gone through some wars, like having brutal matches with the likes of Lance Archer with the death match last week that we saw. Some wars with Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega. Basically puts him over as a top guy that is deserving to be AEW World Champion. And then they talk about their history. Cole, he said that they were former Bullet Club mates in Ring of Honor. And basically, in Hangman's career, he was basically known as the other Adam whenever both Hangman Page and Adam Cole were, sharing locker rooms. And Adam Cole, talks about him, winning world championships everywhere he has been. So it was time for Hangman Page to And by the way, he also mentioned that how Hangman Page handles his friendships, saying that he hasn't spoken with the Elite for months, and he doesn't even get involved himself with the Dark Order for it's been a while. So, like I said, it was Page's opportunity to talk, and said that he kind of agrees with Cole for a while, but the thing is that he mentioned this line where Adam Cole was in a very far place, as this up and where AEW was coming up, and Hangman Page was rising up the ranks, and he kind of takes a little shot at Cole that this is the championship. The AEW World Championship is something that you will never win, something like that. So as they go on, and Cole basically ended this by saying that whenever they go, face to face, this that will be a really great match, and basically walks away with a smirk on his face. Basically, it was a trap. When Cole was walking away, Red Dragon show up, attack Hangman Page, 2-on-1 beatdown. Cole joins in, so it turned into a 3-on-1 beatdown until the Dark. I think it was the Dark Order show up, and then we had security showing up, self-made security guys. So a lot of commotion going on as the heels escape, and what happened was 10 of the Dark Order. He lost his mind here. He was going after everyone, beating every and each and every member of the security guys that they had, and he actually shoved one of those guys from to the outside, and there you go. That was the entire segment. Nothing to say here actually. They are trying to build this match between Cole and Page, but one thing I have to point out: security guys in wrestling are the biggest of the biggest geeks. If you agree.
Mm.
So thoughts on the segment, Harry?
um, I I didn't enjoy this segment at all, to be very frank and to be very blunt. Uh, the interaction between Hangman and Cole seemed a little weak. The substance and the stuff they were saying to one another, it didn't feel, you can say, honest or raw or real. Uh, I would like to say that the emotion factor, you know, where it hits you and it feels to the crowd as well that there is some tension, there is something real that is happening. It was missing for me. They were saying to one another things which have happened, which we have seen on screen. Yes, it happened in Ring of Honor. Great. New Japan, independent scene here. Agreed. They took shots with regards to AEW coming up. Cole was in NXT. Agreed. But, saying that in a way and, making it real, that you are real people and getting the fans invested in your story is another thing. You have guys like Punk, Bryan, MJF on your television, and in the past Cody, and you have these people doing this. It is no match. It comes off to the fans like a high school shit, basically. When you have CM Punk, Bryan, Cody, Samoa Joe, or Malachi Black doing their thing with the promos, and you have this, there is no match. This is no match to them doing their shit. This feels like amateur hour. And you know what happened when the Dark Order came in and the security came in? It was bullshit. You talked about the security, they were geeks, but what happened here? That the security had no sense of authority, first of all. When I was watching WWE television, I have seen the security stick, shit or stick, whatever. I have seen security coming in plenty of times when I've seen from the Attitude Era. Security comes in, there is a sense of authority. They are, they know their job, that we have to look authoritative on screen, but we are doing it in a way that translates to the people that we are doing with a sense of authority, but we let the guys do their shtick in the midst, that they can brawl, but we have an authority, just like the referee. But here in this segment, the security was bullshit. It was shitty. It felt like they haven't seen wrestling any time. They were like, what the fuck is happening? What are we going to do next? They were clueless, and it was visible on camera. They were clueless. They didn't know what to do. And there was no sense of authority. There was no sense of urgency. It didn't feel like they were even security. So it felt shitty. Even if you think that Cole and Hangman did a decent job, because we know they are not top tier promo guys. They are doing their shtick. But after Dark Order and security guys came in and did their shit, the promo went from here to in the ground, or maybe even beyond. No chance of even saving this promo. Nothing. There was nothing you can do, and this was your world champion. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck is happening, basically? And the stick with the number 10 throwing out the security guys. It felt unnecessary. I know it was for booking a Rampage match. It was announced in the upcoming segment whenever it was announced. But it felt unnecessary. It felt illogical that why was he throwing out the security guys? Why?
I don't know, man.
Is he a heel? Is he a heel? No. He's a babyface. Why would a babyface throw out security guys for no reason?
I don't know. Maybe he was high.
Illogical, probably.
Yeah, I think.
But it felt illogical.
Yeah, who knows? He could be taking off that mask very soon.
If there is something, it would happen down the road, but there was no explanation to it. Even the commentators didn't give any explanation as to why, if it is the reason that you are indicating to it, that maybe number 10 Cody Vance is taking off his mask. No explanation or even a slight indication to it. Nothing. Excalibur was just blabbing anything that was necessary to even remotely explain that what the fuck was happening. But if you look from a logical perspective, if you look from a perspective that these guys are real people, there was no fucking reason as to why you can even explain to what was happening. They just had to do something. As to now, you have today, you have March 6th or 7th till Evolution. You have to do something. Why? I don't know. Plan a little better. Then the execution would be a little better. And, you know, other than that, if you could have, if the security could have done the job a little better, it could have been saved, the segment I'm talking about. But no, they could have probably ended it, the whole segment, with Hangman getting the beat down by Cole and Red Dragon, basically. And Red Dragon and Cole posing to the crowd. End. End it. Basically. Then Dark Order could have come to the aid next week, consoling Hangman and whatever the fuck you want to do next week. And also, you know, the I said it, obviously. I do not want to reiterate it. The fact that why Hangman and Cole's interaction felt a little weak is probably the top tier guys who are on the microphone. MJF, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, they were on the show. So then if you compare them to them, it feels like amateur hour. That's all.
Side note here, Adam Cole is actually really good on the mic. If this guy can destroy carrying cross in a minute on the mic, then it's a real good promo.
Um, that was probably coming from a place which is real. But here, it was just another promo. That is what I'm saying. It should feel real, it should have some emotion. That is what would make the fans invested, and you also felt that, you know, when Adam Cole did his shtick with Killer Cross, it came from a place which felt real. I don't know what and when it happened, but probably it came from a place which is real. And it felt real to you as well, and probably it was real. And probably there is legit hit between the two guys. And they are two guys who are from, different places and two different sense of presentations. One is a pro wrestler, the other is a quote unquote sports entertainer, so to speak, but both have different places in this pro wrestling industry. Agreed. But getting the fans invested, whole different ball game. Even if you know that it is not real what you are saying, but getting that emotion to get the fans invested, that is what you need to do. Here, it was missing for me. That's all. It is not a fact, it's an opinion.
Uh, I do agree with what you just said here regarding this, whole segment. Like they're trying, at least they're trying to hype you about Cole versus Page. But let's see. March 3rd is still far away at this point. But as we move on, by the way, shout out to Baron Black, who was one of the security guys here, who is fellow Nightmare Factory student. I think there were a bunch of Nightmare Factory students in that security role. So good stuff over there. Let's move on as we had Chris Jericho and Jake Hager facing Santana and Ortiz, proud and powerful. Shockingly, this was a really good match. And one thing to note here, compliments. I think he deserves compliments here. Jericho has gotten into decent shape here. Commentators brought to us, brought light to this situation, and good for Jericho, man.
Yes.
And you're saying?
No, nothing. I was just going to the match. I would like you to finish your thoughts.
So, like I said, good for Jericho, getting into decent shape. And other than that, this match actually started with Eddie Kingston coming out. This is his official return. Huge pop. And he was there to accompany Santana and Ortiz over there. So match started off with Santana and Jericho, beginning off, and they started with a legit fight over there. So there were some great spots in this match. So like what happened was Santana and Ortiz actually were initially going to get the win when they hit the street sweeper. When Jake Hager was taken out of the equation, they hit the street sweeper, their finishing move on Jericho, but got a near fall. And this is where the match actually picked up. Another great spot where Ortiz and Santana were going for a double team. Like Santana jumped off Ortiz's back and was going for a double team senton on Jericho on the corner, but Jericho caught it and locked in the walls of Jericho. Really good spot. So there was some shit going on in the final moments. Like yeah, Eddie Kingston was doing a great job, making sure there was no shenanigans. So what happened was he actually got involved at one point, got on the apron. Jericho saw this and hit a springboard dropkick. Kingston was knocked out. So little distraction going on. So what happened was Ortiz and Santana continued their assault. Like I think Jericho was going for the Judas effect. Uh, it was no prevail over there. Ortiz with a right hand. I think Santana hit a discus lariat and got the win. And really good decision here. The match was solid, and the decision with Proud and Powerful going over, that was great. And Jericho getting pinned was interesting, and little post match action as well, as a pissed off Jericho goes outside, and we see a big brawl between him and Kingston as referees and officials came out to separate the two. There you go. And with the post match stuff and all, I can really say that Jericho finally, once again, after a while now, has gotten into some interesting program on AEW television. So, good stuff. Thoughts on the overall situation?
Yes, you know, I would like to agree that probably now Jericho has something, that he can sink his teeth into, and probably that the thing that you alluded to in the past, that probably there is something brewing between Eddie Kingston and Jericho, and there could be a singles match at Revolution between the two guys. So it can come to fruition. So we are looking forward to that. And based on what you know, if we look in the perspective of babyface versus heel, it just drives us bonkers in 2022. That it is supposed to be of what an ideal situation is, that Eddie Kingston coming in and siding with Santana and Ortiz. Ideal situation would have been that Eddie Kingston would have gotten a heel reaction. That is what an ideal situation would have been. And Jericho and him would have been the ideal baby faces. That is what an ideal situation in probably the 90s, 80s would have been. But here in this case, Eddie Kingston gets a babyface reaction, and more people are siding with Santana and Ortiz. And Santana and Ortiz got the victory here. I guess nobody is pissed off. And I guess nobody was shocked with the outcome. But the abrupt ending was a little shocking, that Jericho got pinned with a discus lariat. It was a little shocking. And nonetheless, the story is progressing. The investment from the crowd is what made the match awesome. You said the match was awesome, the match was great. The investment from the crowd, the investment in the story, the interaction between the inner circle members in past week is what made this match quote unquote awesome, great. Because the action was normal, the action was good. Every wrestler, pro wrestler, sports entertainer can do that week in, week out. Anybody. But what makes the match good from great, what separates both is the investment from the crowd, the investment in the story. We were invested because what happened last week, fucking brilliant. And here in this match, I enjoyed, you enjoyed this match. This match was good. Investment in, we are invested in the story. Looking forward to what happens next is the thing. And right now, as you said in the post match, Jericho was at Kingston's throat that, you costed me the match and blah, blah, blah. And commentators, one or two, were saying that Kingston didn't do anything. It was Jericho that who lost his cool. But Kingston was on the apron. He was probably checking on Santana or Ortiz. I cannot remember exactly who was he checking on. But being on the apron also is a little, shitty thing or whatever you want to call that. So that is also questionable. We are in the gray area. But it is real. You will side with who you want to side with. Will you side with Kingston? Will you side with Jericho? Because if you take one mindset, Jericho didn't do anything wrong. But if you go with another mindset, Kingston also didn't do anything wrong. It's up to you. But here is what's happening. This feels real. This is good. And this deserves TV time. That's it.
Yo, this could be another potential matchup at Revolution. I can see that. And let's see where the story progresses. Up next, we have Mercedes Martinez facing Thunder Rosa. This is no disqualification rematch from a couple of weeks ago. I think they had a match at Rampage that went to a disqualification. As a result, we are getting this grudge match. So Mercedes was out and she was waiting for Thunder Rosa on the stage area with a pipe. So Thunder Rosa shows up with a steel chair. So she was able to knock the steel pipe out of Mercedes' hand, and we get a big brawl from the getaway. So the two ladies fought in the crowd, and there was this spot where they were in the rafters area. So what happened was Thunder Rosa, she climbed one of those barricades which was very high up, and she wasn't able to stand on the barricade, so she asked a fan for some support, and she did a huge dive off that barricade. Really fun stuff over there. So as this match progresses, you see the usual weapons coming in, some steel chairs, some trash cans coming in. At one point, we see Thunder Rosa putting a trash can on top of Mercedes, only to hit a running drop kick on while the trash can was on Mercedes. So as we move along, there was a big table spot where what happened was Thunder Rosa was getting this table, but the legs of the table actually broke off. So she tried to improvise here. So like she was going for another table, she couldn't find one. So she decided to go with this broken table here, set up the table on the apron, and the spot. What happened was, I think it was Mercedes was going for a somewhat of a suplex, and they did the table spot, but it landed very awkwardly. Like they landed on the table broke somewhat, but they slided down. So that was the spot. As we get to the final parts, we see some chairs being piled up in the center of the ring. Thunder Rosa hit the Thunder Driver on the chair spot, on the setup chair. Basically, it was nothing. Thunder Rosa landed on her butt on the piled up chair. So there you go. Thunder Rosa beat Mercedes Martinez here, and Martinez, like promised, could get the job done for Dr. Britt Baker. So what happened was the heels that was Baker and her team, showed up. And remember the Cobra Kai guy, the who plays a character in that movie or TV show? He was ringside. Britt Baker and him had some interactions. He basically said again, no mercy, finish them. So we see the heels attacking Thunder Rosa here. Before that, there was some more. There was a moment with Rosa and Martinez where they showed a sign of respect at being Rosa. And after this, we see the heels attacking Rosa, and Britt Baker basically ordered Martinez to get the job, get rid of Rosa once and for all with the steel pipe. But this Martinez was hesitant. So Jamie Hader said, "Fuck it." She attacked Martinez here, and we see both Rosa and Martinez, being laid out as Britt Baker celebrated raising the AEW Women's Championship. There you go, and this is set that we are getting Rosa versus Baker for the championship, and should be happening at Revolution. I am ready for Thunder Rosa as AEW Women's Champion. But overall, what did you think about this whole situation?
Um, I thought first of all the match was decent. You know, uh, little to no investment from my side, basically, in this whole situation. From the initial point, I know that afterwards it was revealed that Mercedes Martinez was the mercenary for Britt Baker. Basically, it was revealed. So it's good in its way, but nonetheless, their match, as you said, it got booked on Rampage 2 weeks ago when it ended in a DQ. And other than that, we there is also this point that Mercedes costed Rosa her match uh, in the TBS tournament. So that also forms part of this whole situation. Um, Thunder Rosa right now is the number one contender for the women's championship. We know, and as you just alluded to, that this match is happening at the Revolution pay per view in March. So looking forward to that match. And now the point is that you build to that match and you invest the crowd in this match. That is the whole ball game. And I wish that you invest us in this feud. But we know that Thunder Rosa beat Bitbreaker, in the past in the Lights Out match. The Lights Out match was great, and let's see that if this match at the pay per view would be good or it would surpass that match. And I do not expect that there would be a title change. You are saying that probably Thunder Rosa would be winning the championship. That you are not, you know, uh, contrary to Thunder Rosa winning the championship. You are okay with her winning the championship.
It's time.
Uh, hmm. I am saying that probably Britt Baker wouldn't be losing. They would be giving her a lengthy title run. I do not see her losing, and she would be getting one back on Thunder Rosa. So the score would be one apiece. And other than that, the post-match beatdown from the Britt Baker camp on Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa was good, and it builds intrigue as to what is going to happen in the future with regards to the build to the Revolution pay-per-view, that and how it seems like they are going to use Mercedes Martinez as a baby face. So let's see. what happens. I hope that they are able to invest the crowd, and I hope that they make us invested basically. There is some promos, there is some exchange which feels real, which hits you a little different. That is what the phrase is with regards to social media. So it invests the crowd basically. It should not feel like just another match. It should feel like something that it should make you watch that match basically. Pretty much it.
Hmm. You could really make this feud, mean something going into the pay per view. Let's see how they do it. Uh, Up next, we had a vignette involving the House of Black. We had Malachi and Brody King. Basically, they were in the House of Black playing cards. That's how I'm, trying to describe this segment. And we see Malachi is, just responding to what he saw with Penta and his winning it last week, basically responding to that triangle here. And he was talking in riddles, of course. And uh, basically, what happened was, as they were playing these cards, Brody King asked, Who are we waiting for?" And he points out a card, and in the background, we see someone show up, and that was the end of the segment. A little teaser here on potentially who could be, maybe joining the House of Black. Or so, fan theory wise, it looks like it's going to be Buddy Matthews. It looks like, which will be cool. And other than that, this House of Black stuff, the currently they are involved with Jet Triangle. They are feuding with each other. It is good television, in my opinion. That really good mid card feud that you look forward to.
Hmm. Hmm. Agreed. Uh, we talked about it in one of the reviews in the past, that it would come to a point, this whole situation between House of Black and Death Triangle, that when House of Black have to even the numbers, because there are three members in Death Triangle. Ray Phoenix would be coming in, so they would have to even the numbers, and they are doing their shtick with the tarot cards.
Oh,
Both the
those are tarot
factions,
cards.
yes,
Ah, I see.
and we have seen in one of the vignettes with Pac as well. Pac also alluded or indicated to the tarot cards and in one of the promos, and he showed the justice card, and he wanted justice, and a match happened, but Death Triangle lost, so they didn't got the justice. Tarot cards are basically, they use that to channel what is happening in their life right now, and what is happening or going to happen in the future, or what has happened in the past. They basically want to know that anything, so they you know use those cards basically, tarot cards. So what card they brought out, it was shady, or you can say it was in the dark. We did I did not you know uh, make out what which card was it, but uh, the guy which they revealed, or just showed, and you talked about the fan theories, it could be Buddy Matthews, and we could see a trios match between the two factions down the road. I don't know if it happens at Revolution, because if it is a very stacked card, I do not know if they would be getting the set time on that card. Let's see what happens, and how does Buddy Matthews, you know, fit in that uh, faction, because it is a faction which is basically it has a character, it has an aura of its own. But how does Buddy Matthews, if it is, fits in? Let's see. Hope that it works, basically.
And let's see where it goes. Like you said, up next, Jay White promo here. Basically plugging in the match between him and Trent Beretta on Rampage, and he talks about his arrival here, and he basically said how he once beat Omega for the IWGP United States Championship, and said if we hadn't Omega left New Japan, AEW wouldn't have existed, something like that. So there you go. He ended the promo by saying that it's still his era. So what I make of Jay White coming to AEW is he is here for Kenny Omega. That's great, but you will have to see whether Kenny Omega makes a quick comeback. And as the things stand now, I think that's not going to be the case because he's going to be off for months now. So interesting that he brought that situation up, and it's clear his intention why he's here in AW. And let's see where this whole story goes. He's wrestling in Rampage, excited for that, and nothing much.
Hmm, hmm. I, we also talked about it in the last week's review. I don't think that he is in AW right now for an extended period. He would be, as we talked about, and as you allude to as well. He would be back, or he would be, you know, fighting with Kenny Omega when Kenny Omega returns to television, to AW programming. You Right now, probably, he is mixing it up with the with best friends, and also indirectly adding to the tensions between Adam Cole, Hangman Adam Page, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks. Also building some sort of a story with them as well, so that it eventually pays off in the future. That whenever they are going to do some shtick, and also he is appearing on Impact Wrestling. Also, he is doing his shtick on New Japan programming, New Japan Strong. There is an open challenge, I guess I saw on. I guess I saw it on Facebook.
He's doing open
So
challenges.
uh, there is an open challenge, a singles match. I guess it is. I guess this week or the next week, something like that. So whatever it is, you know, he is, you know, in the United States. He can work here and there. It's promoting himself, and if the other promoters are willing to work with him, what is the harm? So it's that.
Yeah, there is nothing
Let's
to.
see.
Yeah, if you are
Yes.
heading towards a Omega J White thing, there is nothing to hurry right now, because as of now, he's not heading back to Japan.
Hmm.
He's working in the states, working New Japan Strong. Maybe
Hmm.
let's see how this goes. So there is no hurry here. Like he's not going back to Japan and coming back after 6 months or so. And by the way, the borders are open between Japan again, so traveling would be easy over there. Trading the top New Japan talents. Great stuff. And let's see
Hmm.
how things unfold. But let's quickly get to the main event. This is the TNT Championship match between Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. And no surprise here, this was a solid match. Both men are just insane here. Like, good wrestling, of course. Some insane spots. Like, I don't know. Let me just, fast forward through some of the highlights here. What happened was initially Darby Allin did a good counter of a corkscrew dropkick from Sammy, hit a dropkick of his own. There was this big spot where Sammy basically did a gut buster from the second rope, and we see Darby Allin landing on the top turnbuckle, bouncing off it, landing on the apron, and collapsing on near ringside. There you go. There was another big spot which involved Sammy here, where Darby Allin was on the apron. Sammy was going for a senton. Darby escaped. Sammy crashed and burned on the apron. Brutal. Another spot was where Spanish, I'm saying, Sammy hit a Spanish fly. There you go. From the top on Darby Allin. Looked great. So they're really having a great competitive match here. And as we get to the final parts, we see Darby was about to get the job done with maybe beating Sammy here. But what happened was, like I think I pointed out earlier on in this review, Sting actually left Darby in this situation. He went to the back, but he eventually came back because what happened was assistant Jose tried to get involved in this match, and Sting was right there to get rid of assistant Jose here. So the ending parts was little weird here because I think someone forgot their cue. What happened was Darby was about to finish off Sammy with the coffin drop, and you could see Darby. You could sense that Darby is basically waiting for someone's cue because he is up there waiting for just to someone to show up. So assistant Jose is taken down, and he's just looking backwards, basically waiting for something to happen, where basically he could really finish off the match. So what happened was Andrade, I think he was the guy to miss his cue. He shows up, and he took one of those iPad and just hits it on the head of Darby Allin. Darby was knocked out and was stuck on the top rope. So Sammy finally recovers, see what's going on, sees Darby is vulnerable. Sorry, he's just knocked out on the top rope. So he said, "Fuck it, I'm going to finish him off." He picks him up for the GTH, hits it, gets the pin, and there you go. Really good match, but really screwy finish over there. And by the way, I forgot to mention that Darby was doing a great job, targeting the knee of Sammy. At one point, when Sammy came off the ropes with a moonsault and landed on his feet, but made the impression that he kind of hurt his knee. So there you go. And as to cap off this entire segment, we see the heels getting involved as Matt Hardy of the AHFO comes in, and he attacks Darby Allin here. Sammy was seeing the situation came for the same, as he is also a babyface, but out comes Andrade, and he lays out Sammy as well, and he gets hold of both the TNT Championship and walks out with it. So there you go, the babyfaces are laid out, and Andrade walks out with both championship. And by the way, there was this funny line with JR saying, "Why does Sammy have both championships?" So that was hilarious from JR's part. So give me your thoughts on this entire situation.
Hmm. Uh, this match, for me, I thought that this was a good match. Uh, and as you alluded to the points and the highlights of this whole match, I saw that before the commercial break, Sammy started targeting the abdominal area and the lower back of Darby Allin, and it looked like that he is precisely, attacking the set, you know, body parts. and the action seemed fast, and there was a sense of urgency between the two competitors, and it was palpable in the air that this is a main event, and you have to go out there, you have to leave it all in the ring between the two competitors. It felt good, it felt like a main event basically. And afterwards, when we came from the break, and as you alluded to, that Darby started targeting the right knee of Sammy Guevara, and basically neutralizing the athleticism of Sammy Guevara. Crowd was into the match, uh, and they were 50-50, I guess, behind both the guys. And the selling from both the guys, if you go through the whole match, it could be little questionable, but nonetheless, because they are both guys who are high flying, and they are doing their shtick, so adrenaline could you know overpower their body movements, so you can give them their due. They do not concentrate more on the selling and the storytelling in the midst of the match. They concentrate more on uh, the moves, and the moves that pop the crowd. These both gentlemen, they do not focus more on the storytelling aspect. I do not want to criticize. I understand they are catering to a different, you know, audience, so to speak. It and even Eric Bischoff alluded to a fact, or you can say he advised Tony Khan that your show should look like a buffet, different things for everybody. That you have as he had in the WCW. You have the cruiserweights, you have the women, you have NWO doing their shtick, you have the wrestlers, you have a buffet basically to cater to everyone, so that you cater to a mainstream audience, that everybody joins in and watches your show. At that time, WWE was doing cartoon bullshit. WCW, you know, doing a buffet worked wonders for them. But nonetheless, and you talked about someone missing their cue. I guess probably it was Jose, assistant Jose, who missed his cue, because if uh, Darby Allin was looking in the back, you know, at ringside, probably it was Jose who uh, interrupted a little late, because if Jose hadn't interrupted, Andrade couldn't come in and hit Darby Allin. So, firstly, Jose would have come in, and Sting would have neutralized him, and the referee could have, been distracted from the said interaction between Sting and Jose. Then Andrade would have come in and hit Darby with the iPad. Probably it was Jose who came in a little late at ringside. Could be, just saying, and probably it happened, and they would AW would take lessons from that, that they should prepare for the situations a little better, nonetheless. And other than that, you know, good match. And post match, as you said, that Andrade and Matt Hardy beat down Sammy and uh, Andrade left with the TNT championships, both of them. And Andrade right now, and we have gathered it from the interactions coming in this week that Andrade is interested in the TNT championship, and probably uh, the Big Money Matt is interested, or probably he is alluding to a forming a tag team at this point. So Jeff Hardy is coming in, we know at this point, and we have seen online that there are two matches booked with the Hardy Boys uh, facing two teams on the independent scene. There is a match with Hardy Boys facing Enzo and Cass at one of the shows, and there is Hardy Boys facing the Major Brothers. That is Brian Myers and Matt Cardona at one of the shows. So things are, picking up. So as you just pointed out, that Matt Hardy specifically beat down Darby Allin. So I can see probably the Hardy Boys versus Sting and Darby Allin could happen if they are planning to that. But I don't know that if the said match happens, how will they book that? Who would get the win? And how it would be very difficult that who would get over.
The Hardy Boys thing
I don't
is,
know at this.
yeah, Hardy Boys thing is interested that you just alluded. But about Andrade and the situation, if I was AEW, Andrade and has problem with Darby Allin and vice versa. So, in terms of the TNT title picture, you could involve these two guys in the Revolution ladder match. I think that would be good. And as of right now, I don't think they are going to have a TNT title match at the pay per view. Just the Revolution ladder match, that's it. But that's my theory. Other than that, these things what they just we just saw in the ending of Dynamite. They are trying to progress these stories at this point, and let's see where this goes. And there you go, man. That was Dynamite.
Yes.
So, as before we cap off, little preview for Rampage. We are getting Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. This is going to be a qualifier match for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. There is a 5-minute rookie challenge by Serena Deeb. We also have Jay White versus Trent and Adam Cole versus 10 of the Dark Order. That's your card for Rampage. Should be good. Looks like a stacked card in terms of wrestling. Not bad. And
It seems like that.
and looking forward to the coming episodes of Dynamite and Rampage because Revolution is looking like a solid card. And by the way, they have only announced what 2 or 3 matches. I think 2 matches at this point. But I'm looking forward to what other matches they could add. And as of now, it looks like a stellar card.
Agreed.
And another thing I want to point it out before we quickly cap this off is the ratings. I think they took a major hit this week. Dynamite, we are back to 800 ish this week, and the 18 to 34, the key demographic rating was also a little low. Who knows? I think maybe fans were disappointed that Cody Rhodes left AEW, something like that. But other than the ratings, the show was really solid.
I, you know, uh, do not want to, focus on the ratings. That is obviously alluding to the United States' ratings or the television ratings. I do not want to focus on that, but yes, it is a metric of success. Absolutely, I mean, AEW should focus on building and to grow their audience. Absolutely, they should want to grow the audience. They should want to grow their revenue. Absolutely, the audience of wrestling is, you know, at a certain level. Uh, how they can do that, that is up to the company. But yes, let's see how they go about that. That could only happen with good content, good marketing, and absolutely, you talked about Rampage. If you take my blunt, honest opinion, I am not very much looking forward to Rampage, to be very honest. That is just my blunt opinion. Uh, Even if I am a person who wants to work with the said promotion in any capacity or in some particular capacity, I am giving a blunt opinion because I want them to do better, and it would translate for them in better ratings, better audience, better revenue, and so on and so forth. Rampage, if the card that you said is there, the investment from us, the audience, is little. I always allude to the said fact. The investment from the crowd is very important. They, the matches and everything. How, or I should say that, till what time can you, uh, I would like to say that, till what time can you rely on exciting debuts, exciting returns, or exciting shows that are announced? Till what time? There would come a point where it is, you know, not anymore. Only content, better marketing would only do its thing. That's basically it.
But Abby, on that note, it's time to get the hell out of here. Where can these guys find you?
Guys, you can connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at AbbeyManiac, and you can also connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook as well.
And you can find Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at SlamHubW, Instagram at SlamHub Wrestling. You can catch this review on Anchor and Spotify as well. This was the AEW Dynamite review, and we'll see you guys next time.